There were no extremes at the time, I guess I would say. It wasn't a period of extreme political unrest as it had been in the past. I would say we were enjoying a period of relative stability, and where people felt comfortable being whomever they were or chose to be. And so the students felt comfortable exploring all different directions of what they wanted to do, both academically, professionally, and socially. So I would say it was just a fairly middle-of-the-road, stable time during my time here.
I got to tell you, I was very nervous when I hit OU's campus. I was looking around like, okay, where do I fit in? And on the West Green, I lived in Boyd Hall, and you know, you could throw a stone and not run into another black student. I was like, okay. But I think eventually the good thing about young people is that you don't get caught up in that. I think there were 700 of us here out of a student body back then of maybe 14,000. And so it was very interesting. I mean, I'd never been around, quite honestly, so many white people. I was, you know, we were in the dorms and I was a little awkward, but then you know what I learned very quickly? People are people.
A lot of my firsts were here. My first bagel ever. It's called the Bagel Buggy. It was one of the first buggies that were there. There wasn't a burrito buggy back there, but that was my first bagel. And the guy who ran it, his name was Louis, and he had the best bagel. There will never be a bagel to match Louis's bagels. A grilled bagel with that, coming home after, you know, walking home, much like everybody stops at the burrito buggy now and grabs that burrito on their way back to the dorms. You got this bagel. It was the best, and it would cost $1.
Okay, we had no technology. I can still remember the Selectra typewriter with the little thing you stuck in when you made a mistake to white out the letter. So when I was in school, I had a typewriter. I studied either at the library or we would do study sessions in the first floor of the dorm. If you did research, you were at the library pulling out those long drawers, remember, and going through the little files to find the number for your book and then taking that to the library to find the book. So research took a lot longer. And remember the carbon machines? When professors were doing tests, you were running off the carbon and you'd smell that stuff, probably get a little contact high from it, but
really fun concerts looking back on it now. Billy Joel came here just before he was well known. He played at Memod, or what we called Memorial Auditorium. Doobie Brothers was huge when I was there. Halloween, of course, was always really big, still was at that time.
Friday nights, there was usually some kind of Greek party. We hung a lot at Lindley Hall. There were 8 African-American sororities and fraternities, and so that was the hub of our social life. The sororities and fraternities are the ones who hosted the parties. During Black History Month, they would host the events on campus. It was, for the African-American students, the crux of our social life. That's what we did.
Registering for classes was really different. We all went to the Convo, and you had to hope against hope. You went table to table to register for a class and hope you didn't get closed out of it. And that's the only way. You had to manually go to each table, class that you wanted to try to get into.
Dorm life was noisy, so that was an adjustment, and the bathrooms were not nice at all. You carried your little shower pail in there and flip-flops because your feet didn't want to touch the floor, and again, everybody was just, okay, let's get undressed and shower. And it was noisy, so it wasn't a place that you studied. There was always music going on. There were always people having conversations in the halls, and we didn't have co-ed dorms. It was all girls or all boys.
I thought it was very open, accepting, even liberal to a certain extent. It was the right place for me at the time. It wasn't too big, it wasn't too small. There were a lot of different things going on that just kept the student body involved, not only in the Ohio University community, but the national and international community.
We didn't have texting at the time, but we did. It was just starting. Cell phones were just starting to get very popular, so we that was more towards my senior year, but you'd call, you'd be uptown and say, hey, meet me here. You just all I have to do is call them on the cell phone. And
that was, I think the first time that I really got into politics and really started paying attention to presidential elections and what was going on. Bill Clinton was running for president at the time that I was here, and I remember rallies and going uptown and seeing Hillary Clinton and just really trying to understand how a presidential election affected me. I distinctly remember being a part of Take Back the Night, and really expressing our voice about being safe on campus, especially for women, and the things to look for if you were out by yourself at night or even with a group of friends.
When I was in school, most people had computers. You brought your own. I think back into Jeff Hall freshman year, and pretty much every room had a computer. Someone brought one. And then my sophomore year, they put computers in all the dorms. And so you didn't even have to bring your computer anymore. Every room came with a computer. And
I also remember cable coming into the dorms, which is a really big deal. And all of us scrambling, trying to figure out if we didn't have televisions, how we were gonna get a television so that we didn't all have to crowd into the mod and watch Days of Our Lives or whatever it was that everyone was trying to watch at the time.
When I was here too, is a lot of the extracurricular activities like intramurals. I mean, everybody played intramurals. You flag football or softball. I mean, I always remember there was always some kind of team that I was recruited to play on.
I had already had in my head, like, okay, take everything that you think you want from home to Athens, because you're not going to be able to go and buy a pair of jeans, or you're not going to be able to find makeup in your skin color, or you're not going to be able to, I had all these things that I just assumed would be the case when I got down here, and that wasn't the case. There were, definitely little boutique shops, but there were a lot of things here for us to be comfortable, not just to be on campus and be a student, but really be a part of the community.
One point in time during the year, your organization would paint the wall. Like, that was a tradition. And so you got to see, I mean, every day it was something different, but I feel like almost everyone in college here who was involved with some kind of organization spent a night at that wall. They painted the wall, and then you stayed all night and you guarded your wall, because if you left, someone else would paint it over. And so I definitely painted the wall at least one time and got to sleep at the wall. So exciting and such a tradition.
Just a fun place to be. That sounds so corny and lame, but I just loved, even driving in today, I always feel like it's my home, and I get so nostalgic coming back here because I remember all these things and see all the changes, but it just is such a place I feel like I'm always going to be connected to.
I think the biggest thing for me is opportunity. I've been very, very fortunate when I've been here. I've been able to be in many leadership positions. I've joined a sorority, so I have sisters down here. I have an extremely different family life than I did. I have friends from all different walks of life.
Ohio University has a lot of different little organizations like that really help people use their skills and refine their skills into whatever they want to do. So WOUB was that for me, but I also learned some business skills in the Global Leadership Center, and for business majors that was a great experience, and the Sales Center for people hoping to get into sales. I love the small town feel of Athens, Ohio. I would never probably live in a small town in my life. I'm just more of a city person, and so this gave me that one chance to live in a small town and experience the awesomeness that is a small town. I mean, unless you live in Athens, Ohio, or have lived in Athens, Ohio, you don't understand the greatness.